What's up, guys? How's it going? Back with another video. You guys probably just saw my first try at an intro. I'm not sure if that's gonna stay. I might change it up, find something different, but let me know what you guys think of the intro. Today's video is gonna be my first video for my How to Weld Stainless Steel series. I'm gonna be posting a video every week. Prep to welding to purging to, troubleshooting. It's going to be probably 8 to 12 videos in this series, so if you want to learn how to weld stainless, stick around. I'm probably going to also do this for titanium, for aluminum, and definitely some other how-to videos for things other than welding. And yeah, so stick around if you want to learn. This is the first video in the series. Like I said, it's going to be on prep. We're going to go over cutting material, facing, cleaning, and maybe a few other things. Deburring. I've got a list. Can't remember it off the top of my head, but we'll go down that list. I'll give you everything I know. Drop questions down in the comments. So the first part of this video is cutting. There's a few different ways you can cut stainless pipe. Cheapest way, probably an angle grinder. There's some of these thin cutting wheels. These DeWalt angle grinders are like animals, and they're cheap. I think they're like 80 bucks. I've had this one for 3 or 4 years. I've got another one that I just bought so that I could have two. They're great. The only thing is you're cutting pipe. You got to really be careful about getting a straight cut both this way and this way. And it can add a little more prep to each joint if you're cutting with an angle grinder. Another option is a chop saw with either an abrasive blade or a metal blade. I've heard that those can, the metal cutting blades at least, can deform pipe and don't always work great, but I know a lot of people use that method. A little more expensive than an angle grinder, a lot more precise. My preferred method, as you can see, is a bandsaw. I got this one for cutting pipe, but I soon realized that the number of teeth per inch on this blade is like 18 or 24 or something, and it's not enough. It messes up the blades. It takes probably 10 minutes to cut one piece of pipe. So I picked this one up, and you can see it's got very fine teeth. There's a bunch of teeth per inch. And so it cuts through this stuff like butter. It takes a second to start, but then once you get through the top, it cuts down like butter, then takes a second again at the bottom, but it's literally maybe a minute per cut for 3-inch. So I love this thing. It's not quite as accurate as that one. If you push down too hard, the blade will move side to side or angle a little bit, so you got to be careful about that. But all in all, it's a pretty good way to do it. And this was from Harbor Freight. So is this one. This one's more expensive, a lot more expensive. But this one is the hand cutting, the handheld bandsaw from Harbor Freight with their horizontal, and I guess it can go vertical as well, but with their mount to mount it as a horizontal bandsaw instead of a handheld bandsaw. And it works pretty well, pretty easy to assemble. So yeah, that's pretty much your options for cutting. Any way you do it, you can get a good result. It just depends on your budget and how long you want to spend, and how much you want to struggle. All right, covered cutting. Now I'm going to talk about facing your cuts. After you cut a piece of material, you can see that, isn't perfectly flat. You want to take it on your belt sander and you want to square it up, and you can tell that's at an angle. So you want to run it on your belt sander, smooth it out at 90 degrees, and get that so it's perfectly flush. You can take a straight edge across it. You can set it on a fab table if you've got one, and make sure it's flat. You can also hold up another piece of pipe, maybe that has a factory edge. Hold it up to that and make sure that you don't see any gaps between them. That will help you get a good purge, good tight fit with no leaks, and better fitment. Makes it way easier to weld because you don't got to worry as much about it burning out, or when you tack, it won't burn out as easily, and it'll join together much more smoothly. So you want to face any joint that you cut, anything that's not a factory edge. Even factory edges, it's not a bad idea to face them a little bit, especially if you notice that they're off. I forgot to mention, with cutting, as well as with this, anything that you use that's abrasive, like the angle grinder discs, an abrasive wheel on a chop saw, sandpaper, when we get to deburring, if you use flap discs, those sandpaper discs, some types of sandpaper have aluminum oxide in them. If you have aluminum oxide in it, it's going to contaminate your metal. It's going to put that aluminum oxide in your metal. If this has aluminum oxide and I face this off, there's going to be aluminum oxide embedded in this edge. So you can still use them. Those cutting wheels will embed contaminants in your metal. It's still okay to use them, but you have to clean your face with a file after. A clean, new file, not rusty. Go across and clean any contaminants out of there if you're using abrasives that have aluminum oxide or any kind of oxide in them. There are kinds that you can get that do not have that. You can see these discs I have here say premium ceramic blend. I'm pretty sure that you're okay to use ceramic. If you're using premium ceramic, if you're using aluminum oxide, then you're going to have to prep. But if you use this ceramic, and it's not a bad idea still with any abrasive, to just go over it with a file and clean any contaminants out. There's no such thing as extra steps. They're not 100% necessary all the time, but when you do them, you will notice a difference, that it's easier. You can still get a good weld with a little bit of contamination, but you will notice the difference between contaminated and not contaminated. Your puddle will wander, kind of have a little mind of its own. Same with the dirty tungsten, and it makes it hard to get good welds. So you want to make sure that you either have no oxides in your abrasives, or you want to use those abrasives still, but get rid of the oxides after with a file. Alright, so after you face your pipe, you get this edge nice and flat. This one hasn't been faced, it's been cut, and you can see there's a burr. After facing, there won't be a burr like this. The facing will get rid of a burr like this from cutting, but you will still be able to feel this burr on the inside. You can see them sticking out. So what I do, there's a few different ways you can do this. I'll show you one way. Also, you can see these belts I have up here. Same with facing. You want to have a belt that's dedicated to stainless. Belt for stainless steel. Belt for aluminum. Belt for titanium. And then a belt for tungsten. Maybe a belt for mild steel or just for random stuff that you don't use on materials that have to be clean. But if you're using a belt for clean stainless, you don't want to be using it on aluminum. You don't want to be using it on titanium. You don't want to be using it on mild steel. Hang it up, label it stainless, label it aluminum, label it titanium, whatever you need. So, for deburring, this is one way to do it. So now you can see there's a little bevel on the inside of that, and it's nice and smooth, no burrs. You can see that bevel right there. So this is the way I used to do it. It's not the way I do it anymore. I'll show you how to do the outside. So now you can see there's also a bevel on there, and you're deburred on the inside and the outside. Sometimes you'll get a little bit of burr that rolls over to the flat edge, and you can just very lightly face it again, or you can come a little bit more this way instead of being like this and hit it like that, and you'll get rid of that, because you don't want any burr, you don't want anything in between your joints. So another way to deburr here, but before I show you that, I just want to say, if you're learning something, if this is interesting to you, if you want to learn more, hit the subscribe button, give it a like. There's more to come, a lot more to learn. So here it is, the second way to deburr. We've got one of those abrasive flap wheels on the grinder like I was talking about. Same thing with this, stainless only, brand new. You know, buy a brand new one, use it for stainless only. Check what abrasives are in it. Let's see actually what's in this one. It says inoxidable, which may mean that there are no oxides in this, which is a good thing. It means you don't have to worry about that contamination. Right down here it says inoxidable. But take this and you just go around the outside, and then for the inside you just take it and kind of go like that, very lightly. You don't want to push this down in there because it'll get stuck and go all over the place, but just very lightly get on the inside of there. That's your second way to deburr. Alright, so this pipe doesn't actually need to be deburred. This is a factory edge, it's clean. But, for example, this is another way that you can deburr a piece of pipe. These are really nice. I stopped doing that other way, and I got one of these and started doing this. You basically just go like that, and it'll pull your burrs off. You can use it on the outside. It's a little more tricky, but you can do it. So that's a good way. You won't have to worry about contaminating anything because it's just a blade. There's no abrasives, nothing like that. So great way to deburr. So is the other way. Try to find abrasives without aluminum oxide in them. Or if you do, make sure that you're cleaning your edges. I'll actually show you that. Stainless steel only on this file. Got it written on there because I'm not the only person who's in my shop sometimes. Say I face this edge, I used an aluminum oxide or any abrasive. Honestly, it's not a bad idea to do it anyways. And you just go like that and clean it up. Clean, new file. You can see my handle's got some rust, but this is pretty clean. And only use it on stainless. I've also got one for aluminum. I haven't had to cut much titanium yet because it comes pre-cut. But when I do, I know I'll be using abrasives with that, so I will want to get myself a file, make sure I'm using that on titanium. Also, wear gloves when you're done with the cutting and the deburring and stuff like that. You're gonna start cleaning with acetone, and you're cleaning oils off of the pipe. There's oils on your hands. You don't want to transfer those oils or anything else that may be on your hands. Alright. So I got my tub of blue shop towels there on the side of my cart. And the next thing I want to do here, take some acetone and wipe your pipe down, because that's not good for a weld, all that contamination. And you only really have to get, an inch back from the weld. If you just go like this, you'll do well. Make sure you get the inside good. And give it a look in there. Not a bad idea to go back further than an inch. Clean that off. And I got my stainless steel only. It's kind of wiped off on this one. But I've got this one. I've got a bigger one. Stainless steel only. And I usually don't do this until I'm tacked up. But I'll go around each seam in one direction. If you're going like this, you're just kind of working it in there. Think of that as like rubbing it in. And you go in one direction, you're pushing it out, pushing any contaminants out. So you want to go all the way around. Once it's tacked up, go all the way around with some pressure. And you want to get any contaminants out. Once I'm done with that, I like to hit it one more time. If it's tacked up, I'll reach in as far as I can and get that. But now you can see, I'm not sure, yeah, right there. You can see I've got some pieces of my cloth stuck on my pipe. That's not good. You don't want to weld over that. You just clean the pipe. So the wire brush will help take that off, but if you just hit the edge with a flame, it'll get rid of those little fluffy, little linty pieces. And I'm not sure if you can see, but there's a lot of moisture on this pipe right now because it's cold out here. So it's not a bad idea to get rid of that as well. and you just go around until you see that moisture evaporate. Because yeah, the welder will do it, but why not take it off first? Get the inside. You don't gotta get it crazy hot, just get the stuff to, just get the moisture to evaporate. Get the little rags pieces to burn away, and you're ready to tack up. Alright guys, I hope you liked this video about prep. The next video is going to be on setting up your machine, your torch, tungsten, cups, gas flow for your torch, stuff like that. So stay tuned for that. That will be coming out next week, and more after that. Thanks for watching.